Love is one of the most profound, complex, and contradictory human emotions. The feeling of love is not only a feeling, but also an existential tension. If the subject of love is the distant beloved, then love is an indescribable complexity of emotions, sometimes tragic, sometimes sublime, sometimes concrete, sometimes a mixture of the abstract. The distance here is physical, between existence and non-existence, between the hope of reunion and the despair of never being able to see. Even though the beloved is invisible to the eye, they continue to exist as a silence echoing in the recesses of the heart. Over time, this silence creates a metaphysical void that reverberates within the human being. Love is the desire to be oneself and the captivity of being lost in the beloved. It is both the pride of being the subject and the fragility of melting away in the eyes of the other. This non-corporeal but soul-encompassing bond established with the distant causes one to journey toward truth. In a close relationship, one wants to be a subject loved by someone else, but in this case, one also bears the risk of being objectified by them. This risk does not exist in distant love, and the perfect union of two subjects is in question. Man is closest to himself when he is in love. He feels and realizes himself the most when he is in love. Therefore, love is the strongest emotion that brings people together with themselves. When a person says, "I think," he is not aware that he is thinking, but when he says, "I love," he is aware that he loves. This state manifests itself not only in words, but also in the light flickering in the pupils of the eyes, in a sadness hidden in the folds of the face, in loving from a distance. Although love may seem directed towards an external person, it is a realization that resonates in one's depth. Loving from a distance is the courage to dive into the ocean of one's soul. When one loves from a distance, one experiences an adventure in which desire is suppressed and matures in respect and distance. In this case, the real object of desire is often unattainable, but the distant lover is not only the object of love, but also the incomplete part of oneself. The beloved is no longer just a person, but a symbol of incompleteness. The longing for them takes a place in the heart, with the weight of a lost affection. One wants to touch the beloved as if touching a tenderness. In this touch, both unconscious and past repressed feelings are revealed. The beloved is at a distance. One can do nothing. The strange thing is that one transforms the most when one does nothing. Not being able to reach the beloved causes love to ferment and get a higher consistency. The distance of the beloved is no longer only a problem of distance. It is a struggle for existence between existence and non-existence, shaped at the borders of the imagination. In time, his silhouette goes beyond spatial distance and becomes an intellectual figure. Thus, love grows with the pain of not having, but not being. Not being able to reach makes the image of the beloved more powerful than its real existence. It grows deeper and deeper every day, takes root, and finally breaks away from the material world and reaches the inner layers of existence. A lover takes a deeper place in a person than a close one. The inability to meet, or even the lack of hope of meeting, makes the lover more desirable. The distant lover is neither an object, nor a you, nor an it. It is only a maybe. This maybe is a place of infinite possibilities. Every moment that can be lived with the beloved is reconstructed there. Love multiplies in the infinity of imagination, re-exists, re-breaks, and is reborn. Distance is not a deficiency at this point, but love's endeavor to re-exist with infinite possibilities. To love without seeing, to construct the beloved only in the mind, but not to feel the deer on the skin, creates abysses that resonate within the human being. It is a journey that always ends on cliffs. The road ends, but there is no passage. At that moment, love becomes a dead end, an aporia, a problem of existence without a solution. The deep devotion to the beloved is no longer fueled by accessibility, but by unattainability. 8. Distance does not destroy the reality of the beloved. On the contrary, It magnifies her image and transforms it into an imaginary power. This power is an emotion oscillating between reality and imagination at both ends of the pendulum. Being far away from the beloved gives birth to a conflict within the human being. There is a tension between what is and what is not, between what is near and what is far away. This fire both ennobles and devours the human being from within. This is the cruelest paradox of love. While the soul rises, the body collapses, hope blossoms, reality pales. In the confusion of this inner contradiction, one fights with oneself and comes closest to one's beloved. Although man seems to accept being always far from his beloved, this distance erodes the boundaries of reality over time. The constant imagination of the distant one displaces reality. Desire replaces truth. The mind no longer loves the lover himself, but the image constructed in his absence. Reality collapses at this point, but the image rises in all its splendor. True love flourishes only in the imaginary climate of the unattainable. The unattainable beloved becomes an untouchable but felt being. Love grows not in the privacy of the body, but in the privacy of the mind and soul. So, why does one become so attached to someone out of reach? Why does he still cling to that being with his heart when there is no hope of reaching him? Perhaps man prefers the soft intoxication of the image rather than the ruthless sharpness of reality. Because the loved one is no longer God's creation, but a perfect fiction created by man in his mind, he never makes a mistake, never breaks, never leaves. He is an imaginary whole that corresponds precisely to the missing part. Man creates a suitable lover in his inner world, not outside. For this reason, love is sometimes a state of intoxication, directed not towards the other, but towards the ideal within oneself. Love is like a sculptor's bond with marble. Every morning, one approaches that marble again. First, one looks at it for a long time without touching it, then one patiently begins to chisel it. The beloved is a potential form embedded in this marble. He is in the state of becoming. He is unfinished, but he preserves his beauty by resisting completion. This love, shaped by the hands of the sculptor, never ends, because each touch creates a new fracture, each fracture a new meaning. The love for the distant lover is not directed towards an end, but towards an eternal becoming. The most incredible illusion of man is to think that the ultimate goal of love is to be reunited, but it is the postponement of desire that keeps love alive. Physical intimacy often consumes love, because the fulfillment of desire is the collapse of the dream. True love lives in the geography of emotions, not the senses. The beloved's absence does not kill love. On the contrary, it nourishes it. Longing refines the soul. Imagination makes love eternal. Therefore, the effect of love arises not from a physical pleasure, but from a spiritual echo. The sublimity of love lies not in touching the beloved, but in dreaming of him. Love is not only a passion, but also a relationship of virtue. It is not based on desire, but rather on a common good. If the bond with a distant beloved can be fostered with fidelity, even without meeting face to face, it is no longer sensual, but spiritual. This is similar to the philia of ancient Greece, a brotherhood of the soul built with self-sacrifice. Distance transforms this friendship from an ordinary intimacy. It tests it with fire and deepens it with patience. True love is the union of two souls that meet not in a body, but in an ideal. If there is no friendship in love, love easily becomes fragile. But love crowned with friendship can withstand any storm and any earthquake. Every love is also a test of self-sacrifice. Man can love to the extent that he can transcend himself. The longing for the distant lover is an endeavor to turn towards a person and a deeper, freer existence. It takes courage to respond to this call, because one risks burning with longing and continues to love without expecting anything in return from the beloved. This is contrary to the market logic of the modern world. but true love multiplies by giving. The noblest human struggle is a state in which reunion is not guaranteed, but the heart remains open. Loving at a distance creates a different desire than loving up close. The distant lover fuels the fire of sensual desire, but this desire is constantly reborn by his physical absence. Reaction kills love because reunion draws the boundaries of desire and condemns it to a particular form. On the other hand, distance allows desire to be nourished with eternity. Distance is the cause of love's fermentation. One who truly loves keeps the beloved alive in him, even though he cannot touch him. The bond established with the unseen triumphs over the mortality of the seen. One of the most effective ways to understand the situation of two lovers who are far away from each other is how they experience time. Distance takes time out of being a problem of measurement and turns it into an experience. The moments spent with the lover no longer exist in the ticking of clocks, but in the vibration of waiting, in the silent cry of longing. Time ceases to be a line. It turns into an inner universe where emotions expand. Longing is no longer measured in days, but in unforgettable moments. For this reason, love for a distant lover is experienced in an internal chronology, not an external one. When one loves from afar, the flow of time changes. Inner time intensifies. Some moments hang on the walls of the mind as if frozen. Every recollection carries one back to that distant lover. Love is no longer experienced in the physical world, but in a sphere of being where emotions vibrate. Longing carries a memory of the past into the present, but the beloved is never included in the present. He is always a possibility yet to come. It is an indescribable waiting on the threshold of possibilities, hoping to appear at an untimely moment. When two people are together, time flows linearly. Walks are taken, conversations are had, memories are made together. But with a distant lover, time leaves the linear line in which it flows. It now exists in a dream, imagined time, and a circular universe of mental flashbacks and dreams. Therefore, every past, present, and future is experienced at the same time. Moments that cannot be lived with the beloved are lived repeatedly in the infinite universe of imagination. The person who loves from a distance is as if he is dreaming while he is awake. This dream is a cycle of eternity in which the imagination reconstructs love and loses it again. Every recollection of the beloved is a reconstruction of the past, but in a different form. The distant lover lives in this memory, who is not fixed, but constantly reshaped, changing, transforming, and differentiating at every moment. That is why the monotony that ends close love and the state of boredom that follows it are not experienced in distant love. Every dream, every memory, every waiting reweaves her differently. Even if there is no hope of meeting her, she is still somewhere in this universe, in the same world. Even sharing the same sky with her is a great consolation for a genuinely loving heart. Love at a distance changes over time, but this change is not a diminution, but an intensification. Becoming and change are realized through a continuous internal movement. Not being able to reach the beloved does not weaken the feeling of love. It carries it to a higher level of consciousness. Love, experienced at a distance, does not flicker like the flame of a candle, but illuminates the lover's sky like a sun rooted in time.